Okay, guys, here is the next question, and it's an important one. John, do you have any tips on how to feel more connected to spirit, to get clearer, more accurate messages more often and more consistently? Yep, I do. But before I tell you what the tips are, let's just talk about what it is this question is asking for. This question is asking for a real connection to spirit. It's talking about wanting to be more connected to spirit. So the belief is they're not. Okay? Now, this is a paradox because spirit is non-physical. Spirit is on the other side. It's not dealing with the fears, the anxiety, and the human physical struggles and mental struggles we have here. Because we are here to experience those things, to feel our separation from spirit. When you look at your very nature, you yourself are spirit. But it's the being down in physical form that blinds you from that connection and blocks that connection. Buddha used to talk about releasing attachment and being with nothingness. That's a good one. Being with nothingness. Because he's talking about the nothingness of the physical plane. He's talking about releasing attachment to here. So how do you release attachment to here? That's where it gets really tricky, really tough. And if you want to get clearer, more accurate messages more often and more consistently, you have got to be more like spirit. You have to release the attachments. So one of the attachments that modern metaphysical folks and New Age folks have is the rituals that they go through for achieving connection, right? They get trapped in, I have to do this. It's almost like an addiction. To get to my messages, I have to do this, and this, right? Whereas the people I find who are the most connected are the ones who know how to quiet their mind, because quieting the mind means you can hear what the other side is saying, what the spirit is saying, what the super consciousness is saying. You have to quiet your mind of the chatter. Now, this leads us to another topic that I've talked about before, meditation. But even meditation has had techniques wrapped around it to make it work, right? The most clear people are the ones who can just shut off, who can just turn off this place. Because as long as there's all this chatter coming in around your life here, it's harder to hear there. It's harder to experience there. What I would say, if I was going to say, or give any tips, I'd give you one main tip. First of all, stop trying to listen, right? It will come to you in its time when you are prepared for it. When you are prepared for it. And what does that mean? When you are at a state where you're not attached. So in another video, I talked about meditation. I talked about the whole sense of sorry, it makes me yawn. Exhaling and feeling that space. And you get into that space and you feel a tingling sensation in your arms and your body. You just feel this electronic wellness or electric wellness. You feel charged up, and you might even hear a little bit of tinnitus or something, like a little bit of ringing in your ears. What that is the leftover sound of your brain. You know, when you go to a concert, you come home, your ears are ringing. When you go through life, you're always hearing other things, and you're also hearing your thoughts. They're coming through, and they're loud, and they're always in there. And when you get to that state where you go, you'll hear that little bit of noise. And then you'll hear it starting to abate. And as you go, what happens next is words will start to form in your head that aren't yours. And you can tell when they're not yours usually. To me, it's like hearing thoughts, but it's somebody else's thought, right? For me personally, I get very visual images. I see pictures of things, like photographs of things. Sometimes you just get a feeling, a name will pop into your head. So when those things happen, for that brief moment, put your attention on that. The toughest part about connecting more to spirit is actually believing what they say. We are trained to go, is that right? Or we'll get something in our head and we'll go, where'd that come from? I must be fooling myself. When I was on the interview with Kim, I told the story of getting the name Dolores Mancini during a session. Well, where'd that come from? I don't know. Dolores Mancini, what's that about? And it was the name. For that same gentleman, I got the name Anthony Barbagella. And I'm like, I could have totally been making that up, right? And that wasn't me saying it. It was spirit saying it. It was coming from the other side. And that's the interesting part is we have to release not only our own junk, but specifically the junk that makes us doubt ourselves or judge ourselves or judge the information that's coming in. We need to just take whatever comes in, write it down. You might even want to just, if you're going to do this sort of thing, just take a voice recorder and set it there and just say it out loud while it's coming through. The idea really is that for you to connect with spirit and be really clear, you've got to go to them. They don't come to you. You've got to get into a space where you can hear it. Most of the times when people hear, like sometimes walking down the street, they'll hear their name and they'll turn and nobody will be there. It happens to me a lot. But what was happening the moment before? They had shut off their brain and they were just walking, right? They had literally stopped their junk, got rid of the crap, and boom, somebody said something, right? I remember a friend of mine just sitting there talking to me, and he was off on some tangent that I didn't really care about, and I was just being kind to listen, and I wasn't really even listening, which isn't necessarily that kind, I guess. And I was just kind of fading, and suddenly I got a picture of exactly how he was going to propose. And it was a matter of I disconnected. If you want to connect to spirit and you want to get clear messages, you want to have more consistent messages, you have to clear your junk and do it consistently. And once your mind is clear, you'll get clearer messages consistently. And that's the way that works. So take your time and shut down. Don't look for the next way to connect to spirit. Don't look for the next method, because that's just junk. That's just stuff put into your head, put in the way. Exhale. Feel the feeling at the bottom of that exhale. Once you get there, there's a feeling. Feel the feeling. And just stay there. If you could focus on simply the feeling, you're not in your head anymore. You're not in your brain anymore. Feel the feeling of complete relaxation. And then if you have specific questions you want answered, then put your mind on the question and then expect the answer. But you got to clear your junk out of the way first before you hear it. That's really the key of connecting with spirit. So have a great day, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.